To this afternoon's episode of Real Talks. I'm Martha DaCosta Sherwood, your transformational empowerment coach. And Real Talks is a series of lunchtime conversations that we have candid discussions that we are looking at breaking silences, shattering glass ceilings, and challenging social norms. So today I will be talking about the difference between efficiency and effectiveness, and talking about which one is best. Now, over the past month, we've been looking at various different forms of efficiency, productivity, working hard, and all of the nuances that come with that. And efficiency and effectiveness is one of them. Now, we are often kind of told to be efficient. You would hear this word come up in various different places. And efficiency is about the ability to accomplish something with the least amount of time wasted, money, effort, and all those sorts of things. So it's really about getting the most out of what you put in. So basically, it's about doing things right, so you don't have to do them again, and you get them done to greatest time when you do it. So, completing a task cheaper or faster. Effectiveness, on the other hand, is the degree which something is successful in achieving its desired results. So if it provides the outcome that you want, then we say it is effective. So effectiveness is about doing, about the what, yeah? So about doing the right thing. So efficiency is about doing things the right way, and effectiveness is about doing the right thing. And we hear this all the time. We hear these things. So what's more important? Well, typically we hear a lot about efficiency. And often we are judged on our efficiency. So, and which also leads into our productivity. So if in the workplace, you're a high flyer, you're achieving targets, you're hitting these things. And a lot of those are about the amount of output. It's about the amount that you can get done with the resources that you have provided. So that's typically the focus. But ideally, individuals and organizations should find a way to be both effective and efficient. But unfortunately, because there seems to be a greater emphasis on efficiency, so we're focusing on how things are being done and trying to get them done quicker, rather than the what, making sure we're doing the right things. And this is because we're kind of conditioned to believe that doing things good, doing things quickly, or doing things in the most cost-effective way automatically means good, and naturally our performance is judged on this. And so the management consultant, Peter Drucker, he provides an alternative viewpoint of this. And he says in his book, The Effective Executive, he talks about the fact that it's a manager's job to be efficient. So it's for them to do things the right way and be efficient. But really, it's the executive's job to do the right thing. And he proposes this because efficiency is a tool rather than something that has a value per se. So it doesn't have a value per se. And I say that to mean efficiency in itself is neither good or bad. Okay, so it's really set by the intention. So any tool that we use is not good or bad. The intention behind the tool is what provides that. And so if efficiency is a tool, the same rule applies. For example, if you have a hammer, if I intend on hurting somebody with that hammer, it becomes a weapon. Now it is bad. However, if I plan on using the hammer to fix something, it's a benefit because it's a tool. So the same way, efficiency. Let me take that a bit further. If you were an efficient terrorist, would that be a good thing? No, none of us are going to be here saying it's good. No, but efficiency in that sense isn't bad. It's what the efficiency is being used for. Okay. And so the same way efficiency is neither good nor bad, we shouldn't really just be focusing on efficiency. Because if you are an employee and you're being really efficient, but you're not working on the right thing, then that's no use to anybody. And that's where effectiveness comes in, because effectiveness does have a value, right? You have a desired outcome. And if that desired outcome isn't achieved, then there's no value in that. So effectiveness does have. So for example, executives, their job is to create value, which is often in the terms of revenue for an organization. Yeah. So that's the value that they want. So if that executive, and we've seen this happen sometimes, that's why people get fired. And, we've seen this happen in terms of products coming out and being released and not being effective. So if an executive is out here and they've decided, okay, they felt there's this new product, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be the latest, it's going to sell, and then they go and tell all the managers to go and work out the best way to efficiently produce this outcome, and it bums, then they haven't been effective. And that's no good. So the same way it is really for an executive to be effective and make sure they're doing the right thing. And then once you've done the right thing, pass that on to managers to do the right thing well and do it the right way so that you can be efficient. That same rule applies to everybody. And that same rule applies to us. So we need to focus on being effective and then efficient. Even if we are being judged and our performance management and all those processes are based on our efficiency. Because what you will tend to find is in the step-by-step processes, so those little milestones and processes, yes, you may be judged by your efficiency. So someone might be saying, oh, do you know what? You're taking too long to complete this task, or you're building amazing relationships. Yes, you're building these excellent relationships with the customers that you are, if you're a salesperson, the customers that you're trying to close, but you're not closing them quick enough. Okay. And someone that in the short term may be difficult, but in the long run, if you're doing that, you're going to more than likely be able to increase your success rate and also increase the likelihood that you're going to maintain those customers. So in the end, how effective you are is always going to get judged. So don't get caught up in the short-sightedness of even performance management processes. Okay. And it's important because the biggest problem with prioritizing efficiency over effectiveness is that we get stuck in that state trying to optimize that task. So you're constantly trying to do it quicker, faster, rather than do it correct, rather than do it right. Okay. And so even if you haven't got the best method of doing something, but you are doing it correct, that's always going to be trumps. So with that being said, then, if the focus should be on us being more effective, how do you become more effective? Yeah, how do you do that? So a big thing in all of this is about discipline. Okay, not motivation, discipline. And I think I'll discuss that in another episode. But a big part of this is about being disciplined. So you first and foremost, like I said, focus on doing the right things. And you might hear you saying, okay, yeah, Martha, or what's so groundbreaking about that? I mean, the truth is, it shouldn't be groundbreaking. Doing the right thing should not be groundbreaking. But I know that far too many of us have seen that doing the right thing is not something that all organizations do or people do in order to get by, particularly when there's pressures and competition and we're trying to make a profit. So it shouldn't be groundbreaking at all, but the truth is it often is. And like I said earlier, we are often in the short term and at those kind of performance review stages. And when people are saying, people are adding value, we are often judged on effectiveness. On efficiency, sorry. We're often judged on efficiency, quick, fast, cheap, all those sorts of things. And so if you were spending your time doing the right thing, it might even take you a little bit longer to be noticed. You might not be getting the accolades that other people who aren't doing as good a job with you are getting. And so that might cause you to want to cut corners. But don't do it. Do the right thing. Guarantee you it will come back to you. Make sure you do the right thing. Make sure you're on top of things. So if you start there, that's going to be the thing. The next thing after that is about seeking feedback. Because remember, this is all about doing the right thing. Getting to the desired outcome. That should be getting to the desired outcome. And often that's about quality, making sure not only you get the desired outcome, but it's the best. It's top quality. And you can only do that by seeking feedback. And I always say, seek feedback from yourself first. Okay? So you need to be reflective. You need to be reflective and evaluate those practices so you can see what's right and wrong. And particularly when you're going to maybe need to go on and seek feedback from others who may not be able to provide you with criticism and constructive feedback all at once. So feedback's a gift. It really is. But not everyone has the gift of being able to provide feedback well. So if you are at a place where you can be self-critical, okay, not beating yourself up, not rubbishing your work, but really be genuine about and say, no, this is really good, this is what's done, but this is where it needs to improve, then you'll be able to kind of discern the information that you get from external parties and make sure you're taking the feedback that's actually going to move you forward. And anything else is noise and you ignore it. Okay? So focus on getting the information that you require from that, because through that feedback, that's how you're going to make sure you get better at your task and working on those things. And no matter how self-reflective you are, we always miss things. So it's really important to seek that feedback. And then with that, the next thing is about developing yourself. You can't do the right things and you can't do it well if you don't have the skills or experience in that. So making sure you're developing yourself. And how you develop yourself, I'm going to say, this doesn't have to mean a formal qualification or formal training program or any of those things. Okay. In fact, I would say those things would only be needed if you are really starting from scratch and you've got no expertise in an area at all. But otherwise, practicality, doing things on the job, shadowing other people, getting other people who've done the job to support you, it's always going to be the most beneficial kind of development that you can get. So don't fall down this road where you think, oh, I need to go and get formal qualifications or do some formal training. It doesn't have to be the way. I'm not rubbishing them at all. How could I do that? I used to be an educator. But I'm just saying we need to kind of think outside the box of formal qualifications and training programs and get the development that you actually need and is going to be beneficial to you so that you can be effective, which means you can provide the desired outcomes to whatever it is that you're doing. And that leads into synergy. I love synergy. So I love this idea of, the sum of the parts being greater than the whole. And that's about you collaborating and communicating with people. Again, none of this is kind of like, out there scenarios or advice even, but they are things that we take for granted, and particularly environments which can be quite challenging and can force us to compete against one another. We can sometimes fall into unscrupulous practices. And so sometimes we don't share work and we don't work with one another due to so many different competing factors. And I'm saying, get rid of all of that. And I say it all the time, listen, you need to have the confidence in yourself and in your ability. If you have that, no one can take anything away from you. You are you, there's only one you. Okay, so no one can do your job the way you do it. We can all be replaced in a job. Definitely, somebody else can do jobs, but no one can do things the way you do. We all have a unique benefit and something to offer. So don't waste your time or hold yourself back because you don't want to work with others, because we're worried about any sort of competition, someone getting ahead of us. We're each on our own journey. And it just makes sense for you to collaborate and communicate with people because it reduces your workload. Okay, someone who's gone and done this job before already for you, rather than you trying to work it out, learn from somebody who's done it. If you are doing similar jobs and roles, when you come against a problem, you can brainstorm together and problem solve. So it's really important that we really do communicate and collaborate with one another and get the benefits of that out of that, and then in order to be more effective. And then time is like a factor that impacts on everything. But this is about making sure you're using your time wisely. Okay, right? You have a desired outcome. So in the time that you've got, you need to be making sure all the work you're doing is towards that desired outcome. Otherwise it's a waste and it's not efficient, but it's going to also impact on you being effective. And the final thing is about decision. And this is big because inaction is also a decision. And so if you're doing nothing, then you definitely can't reach your desired outcome at all. And so sometimes some of the ways we aren't always effective isn't because we're necessarily doing the wrong thing, but sometimes it's because we're doing nothing. And that's also not useful to you. So now that you've got those things, right, you're doing the right thing, you're evaluating yourself and seeking feedback, you're developing yourself in the areas that you need to, you're collaborating and synergizing with other people, you're making sure that the time that you have is focused on doing the right thing and you're taking those actions. How do you evolve from that effectiveness? You're now doing the right thing and you're doing it into efficiency, so that you're consistently doing the right thing, but you're doing it you're doing it quickly, you're doing it with less waste, you're doing it with less energy, you're doing it with less time, all of those processes. Now we focus on fine-tuning. And so how do we go about doing that? What do you need to do? So first things first, practice. Okay, practice makes perfect. You know that. It's going to always be about practice. And so experience is kind of practice. That's what it is. Yeah, when you have experience, it means I have done this so many times, I've got the experience in it. So that I was practicing, I've done it so many times. That's what it is. You cannot beat practice. Okay, that's what it's going to be, doing it. And you know that, okay? How many of us rode a bike when we were younger, and and riding a bike, you don't necessarily forget it, right? But when you get back on it after you've had a break, you're a bit wobbly, you're a bit fearful, you're not as accurate. And the same will apply with your craft. So practice, and you will do well. And then refine the process through trial and error, because now you know what to do. Okay, you know the right thing that you're supposed to do, and you know how you get that outcome. The way you're going to improve on that is you've got to try and do things different ways and practice doing them, and then compare them. When I do it this way, what happens? Does it speed me up? Does it slow me down? Okay, so you're going to start using trial and error, and you have the ability to do that because you have mastered your craft. Yeah. And so efficiency is about speeding things up. So this is also the next thing you do, is about the point that we could use tools and automate services and hand things out to make it better. So this is kind of like, that smart work stuff we talked about. Again, that's about efficiency. So what part of the process of the work that you're doing can you make be automated? Or what things can be done together? What things could you use some sort of technology to do so you're not doing it manually? Because all of those things are going to reduce your energy, reduce time. Yeah, so that's going to be making you more efficient. Yeah, and then you need to make sure that you are analyzing the results and comparing them, because sometimes there's a fine line, right? There's going to come a point where sometimes being so efficient is going to impact on your efficiency, So if you think about that, that's about if you're an artist and you're coloring something in, you're trying to keep within the lines, you need to go a bit slower to make sure you don't go out. So you're going to have to find the pace where you're not going too slow, even though it's really neat so you can get more done, but you're not going too fast so you don't have that accuracy. And the same is going to apply with any work that you do. You need to find that middle ground where you're becoming faster at doing things, there's less waste, you're more efficient, but you're not overly compromising on your effectiveness. And when that goes too far, you're probably going to have to pull it back. So you're going to have to keep analyzing that to ensure so. And then you just keep repeating and adjusting the process as you go on. Because also as time goes on, there might be a new way, there might be something that's come in. If you think about how technology has advanced, You know, think about we were typewriters, we were computers, keyboards. You know, we've got wireless ones now. So things advance. So you're just going to be constantly going through that process, but that you still always need to remember effectiveness first, and it's the most important thing, because the final part in that, what I mentioned, is finding that balance between effectiveness and efficiency, because that's the holy grail for any business. Yeah. So efficiency is doing things the right way, and effectiveness is doing the right thing. And then the balance of these two means that you do the right things the right way. That is what some of the most successful businesses and individuals do. They do the right things the right way, in that order. So you too, make sure you're not getting caught up and overly focusing on efficiency, but first focus on being effective. Be the best at what it is that you do, and then go on to do that efficiently. And then you will also be productive and successful. So thank you. I do hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye-bye.